You realize that you are not in a hall, you are not in a football field or anything like that. I come where you live. That's where I want to see, in order for me to see exactly what it is that you need to do. I'm absolutely happy to be here, and it's very important that we do realize why we are here. We do realize that it's important for all of us to be aware what we need to do this year. Because over the past years, we have had a long period of struggling in this country. There is only one thing that we came out with, and it's the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia. That's the only thing that glues us together. And it's in this Constitution that it said that every one of us, citizens of this republic, absolutely a beautiful one, has a right to participate in political activities. And I'm sure all of you will participate in that political activities, because in you lies the power to govern this country. Political leaders and politicians have got no powers whatsoever. It's in this Constitution which says that you may form political parties and you may join them proudly and freely, without question and without intimidation. And today we want to tell you the reason why I came to Katima. This is not the first time I came to Katima. I think I actually need to be getting a citizenship of Katima, because I've been coming here for so long. This is probably the 10th or 20th time of me coming down here. About 2 months ago, I was even at Impalila Island, where no politician ever goes there. But I'm not a politician, I'm a political leader. These are the politicians. And it's very important this year to understand that in this Constitution, we give our leaders 5 years to govern over us. The power lies in you. You delegate that power to the political leaders, either to select them as presidential candidate to be the president and head of government and head of state of this republic, or to select them to go and make laws for you in parliament. You can't have somebody who's on both sides of the coin, being a presidential candidate and also wanting to go to parliament at the same time. How do you actually choose where the person wants to go? This year we are going to be asked, after 34 years and a cycle of 5 years, to select a leader with a vision to turn around the socio-economical who's of our country. This time, you as citizens and all of you, and I will encourage you all to participate in these political activities on the 27th of November, you will be asked to elect a leader to lead this nation for the next 5 years. That is your right. The power lies in you. And the reason why I accepted to be the presidential candidate is because I've traveled extensively throughout this country. I'm the only leader in the whole pack of presidential candidates that has touched the ground of our nation and shook the hands of thousands and thousands of our citizens who have faced you in your faces and read your pain and being able to tell that you are suffering. Throughout those journeys, every time that I ask somebody and people under the trees, how many people have got no jobs? At the moment here, how many have got no jobs? Let's see your hands. Most of you have got no jobs. And if you don't have jobs, it's not because of IPC. It's because of the current government. It's the failures of the current government. Everywhere I went, unemployment is the biggest problem amongst our people. And where you find unemployment, you find poverty, you find hunger, you find crimes. In order to get rid of these evils of society, we need to vote for change. If you go and vote for the current government, you'll be voting for unemployment. Surely you cannot allow a snake to bite you twice Even if it says today I don't have poison, you will never go there. So we cannot be voting. We cannot be voting for the same party. And every year they will come with a manifesto and say, this time I'm going to provide job. Now, why do we have an increase in unemployment in this country? Why do we have poverty in this country? Why do we have hunger and people dying of hunger, not diseases in this country? You need to point a finger to that government and to that political party. Why do we have no adequate hospitals in this country? Why do we have people that is transferred from Katima Mulilo 12 hours to Windhoek and some die between Katima and Rundu? These are the evils that was created over 34 years by this government. Why do we have our mothers still be raped on dark streets? It's because we've got no electricity and we've got no enough policemen to be able to protect us. These are the evils of the SWAPO government. Why do we have mothers and grandmothers on their pension paying for schools, children as many as these ones sitting here? When school should be free, why do we have to pay for school in this country when our country is very rich? These are the evils of the current government. And there is only one solution this year. If you want to get rid of unemployment, if you want to get rid of poverty, if you want to get rid of hunger, then we need to get rid of the party that brought about those evils. There is no two way on this at all. And what we have decided, after traveling so many villages and finding that unemployment is top of the biggest problems amongst our people, housing in Choto and Makaravan West, our people are still living in shacks. That is the second evil. And then we've got no real good education, no real good hospitals. Yes, corruption comes 5 on my list because they've stolen all the money. And those are the money that was supposed to build our hospitals, to build our roads, to build our schools. And now, not what I'm saying, yes, we've got ministers from the ruling party in prison. Not because of anything that IP has done. What I want you to do is to make absolutely sure that when you are going to vote this year, you give us that mandate and you give Dr. Itula that mandate in order for me to get the power to change the situation. Presidency is not a little joke. It's a heavy burden. Whilst a president has got all the powers, there are also constitutional limitations to those powers. When I take that oath of office to uphold, respect and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia and faithfully obey and execute and administer the laws of our republic, I'm taking that oath conscious of every one of our citizens that I bow and I take a solemn oath to protect your rights and your freedoms. It must be critically important that the president understand the tenets and principles in this constitution. You cannot claim to be a presidential candidate when you broke all the laws that are in your own party. You cannot claim to be a presidential candidate when you don't know exactly what you want to do, whether you want to be a presidential candidate or whether you want to go to parliament. So, patriots and citizens, let me give you one piece of advice as your future president. As a future president, I'm absolutely clear of my conscience. I will protect the Republic's Constitution and the rule of law. I will never breach the principles of any citizen in this Constitution. But if somebody is already violating this Constitution now, How can we trust them to protect it, to uphold it, and to defend it, and defend your rights in the future? So we need to be very clear when we go onto that ballot. There are 13 of those that don't know what they want to do, whether they want to be presidential candidate or whether they want to be parliamentary candidates. Let me give you the distinction. The parliamentarians make the laws. The president and his cabinet executes the laws. But before I sign those laws as acts of parliament, I need to make sure those laws do not violate the principles and rights and freedoms of citizens in this constitution. And that means every single citizen of the Republic of Namibia. When I take that oath as President of the Republic of Namibia on the 21st of March 2025, it means that I no longer stand as Dr. Itula, but His Excellency Dr. Pandule Itula, the Republic's President. And once that oath has been taken, my duty is to administer the laws of this Republic to the benefit and protection of the rights of every single citizen in our Republic. And we said that protecting the rights, including the right for you to have a job, the right for these children to have education, the right for you to be given a grant, including the pension grant. They come to you and tell you lies. Most of the time they come to you talking about Itula and IPC. Let me tell you this, in the history of the Republic of Namibia, never before has a political party being formed that caused the ruling party to campaign for over 2 years in order to retain power. That desperation has never been found in Namibia. And we know that we are winning these elections. They are already really very much confused, and they don't even know where to take. Our resolve is simple. On 28th of November this year, by 12 o'clock, we will speak to the nation and the members of this party and say we won the elections. And at 1 o'clock on the 28th of November, I will pick up the phone and I'll say, Your Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, why are you not congratulating me? But many of the people want to know, what is IPC going to do? What is it that IPC is proposing to do? Before we came up with our manifesto, from 2020 I traveled this country and traveled over 500 villages, from the Kunene to the Old River to the Zambezi. Last weekend I was in Ausenkwer in Orange as well. And I've traveled asking the people, what is it that you want us to do when you delegate your power for us to govern over you? And this manifesto is a representation of the pains and the ails of the people of Namibia. And this is where we said that in order for us to resolve the problem of unemployment in this country, we need to ask the question, why do we have unemployment in this country? Because we've got no businesses to employ people. Why don't we have businesses to employ people? Because the tax in this country is high up here at 31, 32. So if the tax is up there, no business wants to expand, no business wants to invest in a country where your money that you are working hard for is being taken away into the tax coffers. So we said that the first thing is this, that there is no point giving Harambe food. You can do that forever, but you'll never solve the problem of poverty and hunger. The problem of poverty and hunger can only be solved when you give people jobs. Our people are not lazy. And the only way to give jobs is to create a business environment conducive to expanding the businesses. So we are going to reduce the tax regime to 22. And that means that the business community will be able to invest in their businesses, expand and get bigger, and then they will employ more people. The more people that are employed, the more the hunger will be reduced, the more the poverty will disappear. And if we make sure that the small businesses are not taxed until they get profit above 2 million, then we will allow those businesses to grow and employ more people and expand, so that the branches can actually spread beyond Katima Mulilo, so that we have got more people employed around the whole country. But we also said that since 2018, even before COVID, there was no statistics in this country to determine exactly how many people are in employment. In 2018, there were 725,742 people working. And then COVID came. And that means that more and more people lost their jobs. So we've got more and more people without jobs. And the government hasn't got a clue, especially amongst the young and the youth in this country. The unemployment rate is up to 60%. And that is not something. In every 10 young people, 6 are not employed. Now, how do they live? How are they going to support their families? How are they going to actually grow and get married and have children and send them to school and see them one day graduating if we don't create jobs? So if we reduce the tax regime to 22, the companies will expand and you will get more jobs and will be able to deduct the personal taxes to go in our government coffers, and our government coffers will be able to fill up. As they fill up, now we can talk about increasing the old pension grant. Now we can talk about increasing the grant for children. Now we can talk about building more schools and reducing the backlog of 4,467 classrooms. We lack 4,467 classrooms in this country. That means about 38 classrooms required in each of the 121 constituencies. Why 34 years after independence in a country this rich? So we want to reduce the unemployment among young people by 50%. We want to make sure that 80% of the young people coming out of higher education and universities are able to be employed in government. We want to make sure that they are able to be employed in private sector with an incentive there. We want to reskill people so that there is a match between the skills they have and the skills that the industries are asking for. We want also to double the support for entrepreneurship by reforming the Development Bank of Namibia so that it doesn't keep on asking collaterals for the people, so that the government can actually subsidize that. And we want to make sure by 2028, 90% of young people are either in full-time education, upskilling their skills, or they are actually employed and having a living. But much more, housing is a problem in our country. The informal settlement, there's a backlog of 280,000 houses required in this country. And this is why we are going to declare a state of emergency on housing in the whole country, to make sure that these children start coming from decent homes. And we will do it by making sure that in a state of emergency, we get our soldiers out of the camps and everybody will be able to work and get a job to build your country. And we'll make sure that it will be our taxpayers' money. It will be our development partners that will be working. It will be some sectors of the private sector that will be joining hands with the government in order for us to provide our people with decent housing, sanitation. 62% of our schools have got no electricity in this country. And how do you teach economics in terms of computers in this country without any electricity? The power station in Windhoek was built in 1970. And then Ruacana is the one. We need electricity in this country. 60% of that is coming from South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Yet we are the biggest producers of uranium in this country. We therefore propose that we start investing in nuclear energy. I know there is a lot of people talking about green hydrogen all over the place. There is no technological link between green hydrogen and our electrical grid. Once they show me that technology, then I'm happy to spend people's money in that. But the IPC government will never use taxpayers' money in a project that has got no feasibility study, that we don't know where it's going. That will be, unfortunately, that will be irresponsible. And some people don't like me saying that. But the problem with Dr. Itula is always speaking the truth. I will not say anything else that I don't believe in. So we need to invest in nuclear energy, because you cannot develop a country unless you develop the secondary sector. We've got no manufacturing. In Katima, you've got mangoes all over the place. Why don't we have a mango factory in a Katima Mulilo, so that we have got mango juice and every byproduct from there? What do we do in House and Care? We take our grapes and we ship them out and bring them out back in Namibia as wine. When we ship out that, we are shipping out employment. Why don't we process everything in our secondary sector in Namibia and provide jobs to our people and make sure that we put value addition and we export only finished product so that we can gain foreign currency? We cannot run a country that is dependent on other countries for us to survive in this country. So people, this time around when you are going to vote, you are not voting for a political party. You are voting for the future of these children. You are voting for Namibia to rise again and to become a competitive economic industry amongst the nations of the world. You are not voting because you always voted the past. Don't go and vote the past of your parents. Go and vote the future of your grandchildren and that of your children. That is what these elections is all about. I'm told my time is up, but what I came to ask you is your vote. And I came to you. If somebody wants something from you, they go to you. And if somebody did not come to you, don't give it to them. And when you give it to me, make sure that I come back to report how I'm doing with your power. There are those that come to you, and this is the first time that IPC is seeking your power to govern over this republic. There are those that come to you only once in 5 years, and they come back again 5 years later. It's like frogs. When it rains, they jump up. When the rain goes, you don't see a frog. I shall make sure these members of parliament prospecting to be shall return to the people, including myself. And this is why I'm able to know all the villages, a lot of the villages, including Kainda just on the other side of the road, in order for me to understand where you live. So, fellow Namibians, the time to make a change after 34 years of mismanagement of our economy and resources is at your door knocking to you. Not only for you, but for your brother and sister, for your neighbor. This is the time that you go into that queue to vote for Dr. Itula and IPC with 10 other people alongside you. This is the time that we really make a decision that for now, it is time to give IPC and Dr. Itula an opportunity to show exactly what he will and they will deliver in 5 years' time. Don't start blaming us for the sins of the SWAPO party. We are not responsible for the misery in this country. Give us the implements for us to walk the line, and then when we've walked, come and ask us the question, you messed up here, you messed up here. But we cannot be accountable and responsible for the mess that SWAPO has created. Don't ask me why you don't have jobs. If you don't have jobs, you can't vote for SWAPO. If you don't have better health services, you can't vote for SWAPO. Something will be wrong with you. If you don't have your children in a better school, you can't vote for SWAPO. There are only two choices here. It's either the future or the past. The rest in between is not significant. So it's either IPC and Dr. Itula, and we march to victory together, hand in hand, men and women of the Republic. Once again, thank you very much for the warm welcome. Thank you very much that I will be going to villages.